Welcome to the Electric Playground. Today on the show, Batfleck flies solo in the rundown.
Plus, The Last Guardian is alive and well, and it's one of our best of E3 games.
And then we have a new look at an even more honorable Best of E3 title. Also coming up, we have even more Best of E3 gaming goodness with Star Wars Battlefront. The Terminator is back, and we've got a review and much more today on EP Daily. Brought to you by EB Games. I'm your host, Victor Lucas, bringing you the latest in everything cool every single day. Gotham needs me, but the rundown needs me even more. I'm so conflicted. Here we go. You might be able to add a new film to the long list of upcoming DC outings. Latino Review reports that Ben Affleck is slated to star in a solo Batman movie in 2018. If the reports are true, Affleck would also direct the project from a script by Chris Terrio, who penned Affleck's Oscar-winning 2012 movie Argo. Along with a potential new Batman solo movie, Affleck will also appear as the Cape Crusader in next year's Batman vs. Superman Dawn of Justice, along with the Suicide Squad and Justice League ensembles. And here's a movie that we might not be as excited to see. Take a look at the trailer for Paranormal Activity: The Ghost Dimension. The film once again focuses on a family terrorized by the demonic entity known as Toby, with plenty of jump scares. Oh! This time around, it looks like we'll actually get a look at the demon because the characters are using special spirit cameras that let you see it. The Paranormal Activity franchise hasn't been doing as well at the box office in recent years, so the filmmakers are probably eager to try out new things. Paranormal Activity: The Ghost Dimension will hit theaters in 3D. Yes, spooky 3D this October. Big topics in the rundown. Here to help me discuss them is my very big friend, Scott C. Jones.
That's right, your big friend with big ideas.
Big ideas.
So what do you want to talk about first?
Well, let's talk about Paranormal Activity.
All right, I'm so excited to talk about this. I've seen every Paranormal Activity.
And you're going to see this one, too, because we're going to review it together.
I really don't want to. All right, I got my resignation letter somewhere. I've used it before on some of the other terrible movies we've seen.
We don't know if it's going to be terrible.
Yes,
Sometimes
we do know.
They surprise us. So
I want to be surprised, but I'm telling you,
we've enjoyed some of
this is going to be terrible.
We've liked a couple of them.
I can smell it from here.
Yeah.
It smells like a banana that's been under the radiator, and you're like, I think we have to move. It stinks in here. No, it's a banana under the radiator. Okay?
Is it just desperation? Does it smell of desperation? Are they trying to spice it up with more CG?
I feel like what they're trying to do is get a little more money from people.
Of course.
They're hoping to build something here that makes money again.
Well, this is the thing. If you put your expectations, I learned this from a wise lady named Marissa. If you put your expectations really low, sometimes things can surprise you.
You know, a prostitute told me that once.
Okay.
So,
all right.
weird.
Okay. All right. Let's talk about Batman
yes,
now. They're already talking about.
Look at the smile right there.
I'm excited about Batman stuff. Of course I am. We don't know if Affleck's going to be good. We'll find that out next year.
We really don't. I don't think he's going to be good.
We have a lot of suspicions.
You still have a lot of hope, though. I can see it.
I love the suit.
We haven't even seen if this is going to work at all. This is still in the experimental phase.
It's just a rumor. They haven't announced it yet. Maybe they're going to wait to see how everybody likes him.
But it's true.
Well,
probably
it's
true.
a huge investment, and the fact that he is part of the Warner Brothers kind of catalog of directors, and they did so well with Argo, I would expect that the plans are that he's going to do
Argo.
The jury is still out. He may surprise us again.
I think the jury's in. As far as I'm concerned, you know, I'm worried about all the DC superhero movies. I know you don't want to hear this, but
no, it's okay.
I'm worried about all of them. I think Marvel had their moment, and they're going to have more moments for sure. But I feel like the DC movies are kind of a sign of a coming comic book apocalypse.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Well, it certainly does feel like in the movie business.
So mad at me right now.
No, it's okay. It certainly does feel like DC is playing catch up, and they're trying to cram a lot of titles at us in a very short amount of time.
No more Green Lantern, please.
We will see if Ben Affleck is going to do the job, and I'm hoping that he will. I'm hoping that this is a good movie.
His marriage with Jennifer Garner to work out.
That too.
I'm worried about that.
All right. Well, speaking of things that really affect your heart, let's talk about The Last Guardian, one of the best of E3.
I showed up at E3 2015 with my E3 scowl packed in my suitcase, hoping, praying really, that something would light a fire on my cold, dead insides. And that's always my question whenever I see a new game. How does this game make me feel? Does it make me feel happiness? Does it make me sad? Does it make me nostalgic? But one game actually did light a fire on my insides, and that game, of course, was The Last Guardian. Last Guardian was, before E3 2015, vaporware. It was a product that had been announced, but that actually never was released. In development since 2007 and officially announced at E3 2009, The Last Guardian was supposed to originally ship in 2011. But it didn't, and Sony went mysteriously quiet on the game. Rumors about backroom conflicts and technical issues and disgruntled employees were the only explanations gamers ever got about the game. This was something that pained me personally very much. Why? Because The Last Guardian was supposed to be the final game in the trilogy that Team Ico had created. It began with 2001's Ico for the PlayStation 2. If you haven't played that game, go play it. Seriously, right now, go play it. The spiritual sequel to Ico came out in 2005, also for the PS2. It was called Shadow of the Colossus. This game had a similar kind of fairy tale mythological air about it, just as Ico did. It was artful, it was challenging, it was inventive, but most of all, it was emotionally moving. Emotion is still not something that games easily deliver very often. I confess I never really understood Shadow of the Colossus, but I finished it 3 times and I never stopped thinking about it, never, which is why I was very, very curious about The Last Guardian and more than a little heartbroken when it never came out.
You know, I feel like this is one of the great stories of the industry, and I'm glad that it seems like it's going to have a happy ending now.
Yeah.
Why did it take so long for us to get here, and why is it the right time at this point in video game history to talk about The Last Guardian again?
All that stuff. Well, I mean, the thing is, like, the game's been in development for a long time, but we only like showing things when they're totally ready, right? I mean, when they get to a point when they look sharp, and I mean, I was totally moved, right? Characters like jumps and the tail. Oh, Last Guardian, I think, is that cornerstone. It really represents what PlayStation's all about.
Honestly, I don't even remember what other games Sony showed after The Last Guardian. I sat there with a big stupid smile on my face for the rest of the press conference. No, I wasn't a kid again exactly. I have a mortgage and a pain in my leg when I sleep and erection problems, all reminding me that yes, I'm an adult now. But for the first time in many years, I dared to dream a ridiculous dream, and that dream actually came true at E3. And I love that games can still do that to me. The game stars a young boy and a giant animal that looks like a house cat crossed with a chicken. These two have to work together to solve physical puzzles in the game world. So are there enemies to fight? Well, we don't really know that yet, but I can guarantee you this. I'll be using my most powerful magnifying glass and very much looking forward to 2016 when the game comes out. To Sony and to Fumito Ueda, thank you very much. Oh man, Vic, I'm really enjoying these best of E3 pieces, and I think The Last Guardian, by far, is the thing I can't wait for the most.
All right, well, we've got more best of E3 for you after the break. It's For Honor.
Welcome back to EP Daily. You know, Jones, I met a lot of really cool people this year in LA.
Well, yes, I always meet cool people in LA. In fact, this is a little personal thing. I always mow J.J. Abrams' lawn during E3. He likes the way I trim the hedges.
Okay.
Anytime, J.J.
All right, that's good to know.
What
More
about you?
true Hollywood stories
What do
from
you got?
Jones. Well, I met a really cool guy in particular. He stood out, and he is the creative director of For Honor. I'll let him explain. There's a game out there called For Honor. There is melee combat, but this is a different style of melee, isn't it?
Oh my goodness, it is. We have this new kind of gameplay. We call it the Art of Battle, and it's a new way of moving the controls around on the controller and giving you a way to duel, where we put the control of your weapon on the right stick, so you're moving your weapon from left to right to top and protecting yourself that way. But also the Art of Battle is about the battlefield and being there with 4v4, right, playing in multiplayer, so you're playing with other warriors as well and coordinating against them to take that battlefield. So we have a new way to duel, and then we have a new way to fight on the battlefield as well. And then that tension of we're fighting and we're locked on and this is really intense, and then, oh God, one of your friends is coming, because it's a 4v4 environment, right? It's a multiplayer environment. And that tension between that kind of focus and then needing to keep your eyes on the rest of the field is also something that's very new, and that's what we're building our game around.
I like that. I also like the fact that it is 4v4. That's exciting to me. But does that mean I have 4 different character classes? Because I only see 3 behind me.
So each of these factions, our knights, our Vikings, our samurai, each of these will have multiple heroes that you can choose from. Each hero has a weapon, has a suit of armor, and a fighting style. They're all different. Here on the floor at E3, we have our first hero, the Warden, who is a longsword fighter. He's got heavy armor on, so that creates a very particular kind of play. And you're going to have a choice to make about all these different types of characters that you'll be able to fight in the future.
Where are we in time? Are you basing this off of anything in history? Is this your own lore?
So this game, we really wanted to base it on the Knights and the Vikings and Samurai that you know, right? So I can say, so we identify them, because I think everyone has a favorite, right, in that thing. Of course, it's not a historical game, because the Vikings never fought samurai on a European battlefield. That didn't happen, right? That wasn't the thing that occurred. But we wanted to be faithful to the concept of these legacies, these warrior legacies, because they are really the coolest, most powerful ideas for warriors that we have in our culture. And we love them. We all love them for different reasons. I've learned that when I ask people, Knight, Viking, or Samurai, people really are choosing about their values. They're telling you what you value. People who like Knights tend to be about protection and being a defender, and so the cool gear. People that say Viking, they're about freedom and expression, and right? They're sort of like, I fight for alcohol. People who choose Samurai are usually about mastery, control, and mastery of their weapon and themselves and the battlefield. So it's a great question. It's sort of a great lens to ask you, what kind of warrior are you?
Personal question, Marissa Roberto.
Okay.
Who wins, that guy or J.J. Abrams?
Oh, definitely that guy. Are you kidding me? Look at him.
Wrong again.
No, I'm not. For Honor comes out next year, but if it were between that guy and the Terminator.
Terminator.
Terminator
Genisys is in theaters, and we've seen the movie. Here's our review.
Nice night for a walk, eh?
Your clothes, give them to me. Now.
He said he'll be back, and I guess we have no choice. He's back. The Terminator is back in Terminator Genisys, and it is the original Terminator. We've got Arnold Schwarzenegger reprising his role as the T-800. We're going back and forth. We're seeing Arnold fighting Arnold. We are seeing different types of Terminators colliding.
T-1000 and the old model Terminator, yes. The T-900.
We've got a different Sarah Connor, though. We've got Emilia Clarke.
Fresh from Game of Thrones.
Awesome actor on Game of Thrones, yeah. And we've got Jai Courtney.
You know, he looks kind of like a love baby that was made by Jon Favreau and Paul Reiser.
Okay.
I kept looking at him. I'm just like, he's got such a weird face, but he's strangely handsome. And there's a lot of good-looking man flesh on display here. The young Arnold in the movie is probably the best special effect in the movie. And they keep rolling out this guy made of mercury, but it's like, we saw that already in James Cameron's movie. And James Cameron is the key ingredient who is not part of the recipe here. And I think he's sorely missed.
If we die tonight, mankind dies with us.
Yeah, because this is a movie that tries to ape the tone and the style of the classic Terminator films, both 1 and 2. It's trying so desperately to fit into that trilogy and try to just wipe out the 3rd and the 4th movie. I think part of the problem is the casting. I don't think that Emilia Clarke makes a great Sarah Connor, and I don't think Jai Courtney makes a good Kyle Reese. You can't help but think of Michael Biehn and Linda Hamilton the entire time you're watching these two on screen together. I just don't believe that they are the saviors of humanity. And I think that is the crux of the film right there.
Come with me if you want to live. Now, soldier!
It feels like over-intellectually challenging for some reason. It feels like it's so desperate to be smart, and as smart as, if not smarter than, the first 2 Terminators in the series. And somehow, I mean, I'm not very smart. You're way smarter than I am. But I was lost throughout most of this movie. I'm like, who is that guy? And what are those guys supposed to be doing? And I felt like an idiot watching this movie. And I love time travel. I love Looper. But here, there's alternating timelines, and they're visiting memories, and there's characters who don't make any sense.
I'll be back.
What?
I think the biggest crime that this movie commits, and it commits a whole bunch of them, but I think the biggest one is that it's a PG-13 movie, and this is a franchise that reveled in its violence and reveled in its really dark tone, and you really felt the terror and the horror.
Adult is what they felt, and here you felt like, oh, we're just going to make the Disney ride version of Terminator.
This is a franchise that deserves and needs to be R-rated. You need to feel like these harpoons that the T-1000 is going to rip off of its body, which was actually kind of a cool effect too, are really tearing through flesh and really could crush skulls. And you know, I couldn't help but think of Mad Max, which was also a movie that harkens back to the 80s, but came back ferociously.
Yeah, and it didn't really shy away from the violence. It didn't shy away from being an adult experience. Here we got a kid version of Terminator that makes no sense. Listen, I think James Cameron is the reason why we still pay attention to these older movies, and he's the thing that's missing here, and I don't think you can do this without him, and I don't think you should even try going forward. All of this stuff just feels like fan fiction versions of those incredible movies that he made in the original.
Yeah, this was pretty lame. There's a couple of interesting action bits. Gets a 4.5 from me.
Gets a 4 from me.
Terminator Genisys is in theaters right now.
Oh, he said he'd be back, and he's back.
All right,
you know
moving
what?
right along.
After the break, Best of E3 is back because we've got Battlefront.
Well done. We've sent you a drop bomb.
Welcome back to E3 Daily. During my E3 experience, I got to sit down with Battlefront. Unfortunately, at the same time, I was playing against Jose. And if you know anything about Jose, he likes to kick some serious butt in video games, which means he won the war and he won the interview. Here's Jose with more on Battlefront.
Hey, let's go.
You made it. Thank the Force. We've located your crash site, but it looks like the Empire will reach you first. Prepare to defend yourselves until we can get there.
Obviously, this is a huge year for Star Wars, and creating something like Star Wars Battlefront has got to be stressful for you guys at the studio. But when you actually get to see people playing the game, enjoying the game, how does that feel from the process of, you know, we put so much work into this and now people can finally get their hands on it?
Well, we've been working on this for quite some time, actually, and just getting the opportunity to work with an amazing franchise like Star Wars is just mind-blowing. And of course, there's a huge responsibility with building a Star Wars game because, you know, Star Wars is a very beloved franchise. To us, it was really important to go back to the basics of what the franchise is. What is it for what people? Who is enjoying Star Wars? It is not the same audience, maybe, in all cases, like the audience for Battlefield. So going back to the roots, rebuilding it from scratch, going to the locations of the original Star Wars movies, collecting all the data, scanning all the props that they have in the archives at Lucasfilm, making sure to get that authentic Star Wars feeling, and then creating a game that is completely unique. You know, there's not a shooter on the market that you could say that it's exactly like that or exactly like that. So for us, that has been the most important thing to prove here at E3. When people actually get to play it, and they often, well, I haven't heard anyone coming out of the booth saying that, oh, it's just another Battlefield game.
Well done. We've sent you a drop bomb.
When coming up with game modes for a game like a Star Wars Battlefront, how do you sort of make them unique and feel different from something like a Battlefield?
Well, it's back to the heart and soul of what the game should be. Star Wars is known for its battles, right? You want to relive the Battle of Hoth, for instance. You want to see what happened over there. You know, in the movies, you only see one part of the battle. So what this lets you do is that it lets you design the game around the experience and create the game modes that relives the fantasy of these battles. Everything that we've done, both from, of course, a visual and an audio perspective, is very much Star Wars, probably the most Star Wars game you've ever seen. But also from the game design, you know, there's a lot of thought spent on making sure that the game modes and the features of the game is very Star Wars.
The Empire is preparing to throw everything they've got at you.
Star Wars Battlefront comes out this November, and guess what? We have more Star Wars after the break because it might be sprinkled in the Twitter question of the day.
If you want more EP, go to our website, epn.tv, for bonus content and full episodes. We're also on Facebook and Twitter.
Welcome back back to EP Daily. It is time now for the best part of every episode. Twitter question of the day. Today's question comes from our old friend Craig. He is at Darth Maul 13.
12 must have been taken.
12 must have been taken.
Because I'm Darth Maul 12, I think.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
Do you think Disney needs to show any more Star Wars trailers? Question mark. Would like to be surprised.
Right.
And the 2 is a number and the B is a B. What do you think, Victor Lucas?
I think that we are going to get more trailers,
for sure.
and it's going to take a lot of work on your behalf, Craig, to not watch them or hear about them, because everybody will be chattering about them. I don't think we need to see anything. I think this is pre-sold. I think they're going to make their billions. This is probably going to be the biggest opening of all time if I were to make a prediction. But we are going to get some more trailers.
More Star Wars trailers are coming.
Yep.
I agree. I don't think it's a good thing. It's going to happen. It's just the world we live in now. We almost have way too much information before we go to the movies. Marissa just said recently Southpaw, the trailer for it, you saw the entire movie.
I know, it's
How about a little mystery, people?
All right, well, listen, we'll talk more about the trailers in our Vic's Basement podcast, which you can find along with the full show at epn.tv.
And listen, we're working on a hot story for tomorrow's episode. It is a best of E3 story on Metal Gear Solid Phantom Pain. It's going to be awesome. We'll see you then.
Thanks for watching.
EP would like to thank its sponsors, Nintendo, Xbox. EP's mobile coverage is brought to you by Gameloft, makers of Dungeon Hunter 5, which you can play for free on iOS and Android right now. The road to release for the Phantom Pain has not been easy. This title has been fraught with controversy. First, it was the announcement that longtime Solid Snake voice actor David Hayter had been replaced. Then there was the matter of game creator Hideo Kojima's questionable outfit choices for female characters in the game. That is not effective body armor, people. And perhaps most damaging to the Metal Gear name is the behind closed doors tension that has started to go public between Kojima Productions, the developers of the game, and Konami, the publisher and ultimate owner of the Metal Gear franchise.